Welcome to the MSP Corner Podcast. Before we kick off our show, we would like to share what our main objective is at the MSP Corner. Our main goal is to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We are not just providing tools for IT firms, we will be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm stays on track. The first area we are focused on, strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support. We will provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an added value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle in is marketing. 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. The third component to our package, scaling. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. The fourth area we will offer help in, selecting the right tools. In order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. The fifth area we will offer help in is with documentation. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to our next podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the MSP Corner Podcast. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gregory Morabiec. And today's topic, well, we're going to ask the man himself on which industries are easier to support and which ones you should avoid. Well, which ones you might avoid. But before we start the show, let's quickly go over our agenda. Like always, we always have an introduction, and then following topics, we'll go over which industries, comparison, operational insight, advice from Gregory, and a short pitch on the MSP Corner, and then some closing thoughts. All right, so welcome again to the MSP Corner Podcast, where growth-minded MSPs get real-world insights from those who've been in the trenches. And today we're going to dive into a timeless question. Which industries are easier to support and which ones tend to drain the life out of you? So let's get to this first question we're going to ask Gregory, because he's been doing this for close to 3 decades. And I've been by his side for almost a quarter of a century. But Greg, what industries have you consistently found easier to support? Because, you have your high maintenance clients, and I have my own thoughts on it because, I've been doing this for a while too. So I'm going to give you my feedback after. But what has your experience been where you're just like, gosh, it's so easy to support this specific industry? Or is it more of a profile of a client that falls into that category?
No, it's more. It's like the level of this of the customer. What level are they at in the sense of how technical are they? So the more technical sided organizations will be the easiest to support because they usually will try to solve their own problems. They might be IT people themselves, software developers. Are usually tinkering with their boxes or installing software. They might even know how the core functionality of code works within the applications that they're installing. So those guys are the easiest to support. The hardest people to support are unions, people who they won't touch their box unless they've been trained. They won't work on their environment, unless they've been given permission, or they won't do any extra work unless it's part of their job description. So those guys are like going to actively refuse to help you or work with you, or even let you try to have them reboot something. They won't even reboot a machine. So working with a person from a union is probably the most difficult. Working with somebody from the software development industry, probably the easiest.
Yeah, but don't you find some challenges with people that are really technical too? Because they might want to do things a certain way where you might come in and say, "Oh, those aren't best business practices," right? Those aren't.
That's a different kind of challenge. And sometimes they don't even go with an IT MSP. They'll do their own work in-house. They won't even call you. So the guys who are going to be confrontational with you and not agree with you will seldom use you. You'll see that if you're in the org, you're going to be supporting the executives, marketing, sales, HR, office management, accounting, finance. You're going to be supporting those individuals. You'll rarely ever get to touch developers or engineers or software person's machine or a technical person's machine ever. They just won't call you.
Yeah. And that's within a technology organization.
Yeah. Yeah. Software development lifecycle type of people or that kind of thing.
Yeah. What about the biotech industry? How easy is it to support them?
They're typical of any other industry. They're not super complicated or different. They're going to be not simple to support, but they have their own software packages that are complicated, complex. Sure.
But so one area that I constantly keep hearing about is the government side of the industry. How much experience have you had working with government agencies? Because once you get a government contract, it's like, oh man, you've made it to the big show. Or people just it's like you've won the lottery when you win a big government contract. So have you worked on any of those type of relationships?
I have, yeah, many times, and usually it's a slower pace. The work is the same. It's just the pace is slower. You're getting you're getting a lot of requests, but your availability to contact those people and work with them one-on-one is usually slowed down because they're either not in the office or they're not available or they're just not interested in getting support. And so you have to wait longer.
Interesting. And when you first got into this industry in the mid 90s, did you gravitate to a specific industry, or were you
technology industry? And even then, again, not supporting the technologists, but their staff.
Yeah.
Because the Silicon Valley is filled with technology companies.
It is, and it's one of the benefits when you're in the Bay Area. You're surrounded by technology, right?
You are.
Yep. All right. Well, let's talk about comparing here the industries. Let's talk about low maintenance. Which type of clients generally need less hand holding or generate fewer tickets? Are you going to stick to the software developers and technologists, or is there another industry that they're so easy to support and implement proactive strategies that they just don't have very many problems? Is there such an industry?
Yeah, it's BYOD. People that bring their own devices seldom ask for help to fix their own computers. They'll ask family members, relatives, technical people in their orbit versus ever calling an IT company. They don't want an IT firm from their office to work on their machines.
Interesting. Really?
So they're not high maintenance.
Interesting. Yeah, I would never have thought that. I would have thought the opposite. I would have thought that they would be the most problematic.
No, because they're looking at porn. They're doing their personal finances. They've got their kids' pictures on there. They don't want some weirdo from any IT company looking at their personal stash of, their Bitcoin locker, their passwords to their bank accounts. BYOD, people are scared. They don't want anyone touching their machines.
Interesting. That's a funny observation.
Yeah.
Well, how do compliance heavy industries like legal, well, legal's not, doesn't follow any frameworks, but like finance, healthcare, manufacturing, working with the DoD, compared to more relaxed sectors like construction or nonprofits? How are they? How easy, or would you prefer a industry that is regulated, or someone like nonprofits? Because I know we work with nonprofits. So how do you feel about those two industries?
Nonprofits don't. In my opinion, they don't do a lot of work, so they're not super needy for support.
Okay.
It depends on the nonprofit. Some of the nonprofits are work centric. Others are more like they're advising charities and other things like that. They're not. They're just sending emails. I mean, the worst thing that they have is a spreadsheet problem or an email problem. When you have people who are doing finances, you have people who are doing office management and scheduling, or you have a retail organization where they're using a POS, point of sale system, or you have somebody using cameras, or then they're more needy. Nonprofits, I find them to be very complacent in the work. Okay. They don't have to produce anything. They don't have to, they don't have to worry about making money, right? Because they don't need to. They don't care. Now, what was the first group you mentioned?
Construction. Well,
I steer away from those guys. Those guys are a disaster. Construction, those are one of the three groups of people we hate: doctors, lawyers, and contractors. And I'll throw architects in there too. They're just a pain in the ass because they're so cheap. If someone's writing their own check, then you want to steer clear of them.
Yeah. No. I get it. Yes, you do have. I would stay away from small construction firms, but
horrible.
The bigger ones seem to be embracing technology and using technology to run more efficiently. So, but I agree. Yeah, that construction is definitely the small ones tend to be a little bit more hard to stomach.
I try to steer us away from somebody writing their own personal check, or someone signing their own check and putting it in the mail. I try to steer clear of those groups because they are, every time they go to look at the check, they are questioning your value. They're questioning your place. Can they do without you? Can they fire you and get someone cheaper? That's what they're thinking constantly when they're writing that check. So you have that happening 12 times a year. It's brutal. I don't want any to be a part of that.
Yeah, no. I get it. And that's one of the talking points we have is, when you're qualifying an organization, this is where we have to draw the line when you're interviewing a business. Is, do they see value in IT, or are they so consumed with every penny going out the door, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that's where you draw the line, because you usually are like, no, we want that client, we want to bring them in. But construction,
bring them in, manufacturing, food production, biomedical, anything. I'll take anything.
Yeah.
Over a group of architects, horrible creatures. And doctors are, and lawyers, people who are charging thousands of dollars, hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars an hour.
Yeah.
And they're questioning your value.
Yeah. I find it ironic, to be honest. I find it very ironic. It's
very.
Yeah. I'm like, But I've every doctor that I've been exposed to that we've supported has seen value in IT. So I don't have I'm not as jaded as you, but I've had a good experience with doctors.
Well,
Right? The
it's
fintech,
that's rare.
yeah, no, it is rare. I agree. I would have to agree. Um, so I think I've already answered this question, but my next question was: have you ever exited an entire industry segment because the support load or complexity was too much?
No, no. I've never had. I've never been in an environment where complexity has been too much. I have been in environments where they have complex environments, and supporting them takes a lot more time than you thought it would, and then you
Yeah,
end up underestimating everything. You're underestimating how much time it's going to take to do something here and there. So yeah, it can be a challenge. Absolutely.
which industry would you say that is?
It could be manufacturing. It could be light industrial, limbs, light industrial
Yeah,
manufacturing, because it's like you're working with IoT devices. Like one time, one of our customers, their gate was broken, their automatic gate, and they were looking to us to solve it. And I was like, wow, I don't know anything about automatic gates, and I was trying to figure it out. And there was only one vendor in the area that supported that particular type of automatic gate, and I was like, wow, how tough this is.
yeah, no, I get it. Get it. All right, let's jump to the operational questions here. I wanted to run by you. So, how do you evaluate a new vertical before deciding? You say, hey, let's go after this specific industry.
Well, I mean, you're not gonna get science labs in the Central Valley. You're not gonna find chicken farms in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's going to be based on those are going to be based on like what is in the area, what's it popular for. Silicon Alley, Silicon Valley, those that's a certain type of a location with a certain type of industry. So you definitely, you can feast or famine depending on what it is that's popular in that area. that's
and you
how
know,
i that's how I do it.
yeah, and you know who could answer this type of question? So let's just say you're in the middle of Los Angeles and you're like, Chat GPT will tell you the biggest industry in that area. And let's just
Sure.
say entertainment is like the number one, right? You've got entertainment. That could be probably the number one option, or maybe probably lawyers too. There's a lot of lawyers in Hollywood, right? Because they have to represent their clients and movie studios. So, but are there certain red flags or signals during onboarding that hint a client may be high maintenance, regardless of the industry?
uh yeah, I mean, if you are taking over for another firm and then all of a sudden there are like 60 requests,
Yeah.
I'd be wary of that, because it's like, why didn't that old firm help you? What's going on here? What is it about what is it about you guys that something's wrong here, right? So you're like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then you're
No, no.
like, are you a bad customer? And ends up that they are, for sure. They're a bad customer.
Yeah. No. I get that. Yeah. And we've had, because we've been doing this for so long, and I've I've been able to prevent us from losing money when onboarding clients, because we have a specific clause in our agreements that, yeah, we give everybody gets a fixed cost model, right? Unless it's a Linux environment, and we're like, look, we'll maintain it at fixed cost, but if it breaks down, we got to we're going to resolve it at time and material. But before we even take control of their network, we say in our agreement that we are starting with a clean slate, right? We got to have a clean slate. We can't be walking into a mess, and if we do walk into a mess, it's going to be resolved time and material, because you don't want to start off on a with just like you said. Let's say we're walking into a 200 person office and they have 500 tickets. That would be a nightmare. That would be a nightmare.
Yeah, why do they have 500 tickets?
Yeah.
Why is it that they have so many?
Yeah.
And it's normally because there's something wrong there. Not that there's something wrong with, maybe there's something wrong with the people, but it could also be something wrong with the support model, their expectation level, their end user, capacity. You're like, why is it so hard?
Well, I would definitely have you run an analysis on that report and get back to me on, well, 90% of these are password resets. Okay, how about we implement something that's automated, right? Don't we have automation to reset a password? Is that even possible?
It is, but I'd be more scared in that situation. If like 90% of them were password resets,
yeah,
I'd be like, what? Why? Why is this so hard? You got to ask yourself, why is this so hard?
Yeah. No. I know. It's I would be a little leery myself, so I'm with you there. Well, let's get to my last topic here of advice to MSPs. And for MSPs in growth mode, where would you recommend they start, especially if they want to scale without burning out? Because these one-man shows, they could I've talked to so many one-man shows that are easily making $500,000 a year, and they're loving their job. They're just like, hey, this is easy, it's low maintenance, where I can easily scale because they have a back end SOC or whatever, and they're clearing a couple hundred G. What would you recommend, especially for somebody that's small? Where would you recommend they start?
With their friends. I would start with your friends. Get your friends as a good base, or get some good customers that are a good base for you, and work that base to the point where it's very solid. There's nothing worse than an unstable environment. If you're going to lose customers, if someone's not going to talk to you and just fire you, they're not your friends. Your friends are going to say, hey man, you're not doing a good job, or something's wrong, or can you fix this, or can you fix that, or can you do better here? They're going to say these things to your face.
Yeah.
Versus working with somebody you don't know. They're not going to say anything to your face. They're just going to fire you, and you're going to be like, what happened? And you're going to be in this terrible situation where you're in an unstable environment, and you're going to be like, what happened? I lost my main customer, and you don't even know why.
Yep. And one of the other tips of advice I would give is build partnerships, right? Because partnerships are going to help you get into, they're going to work for you. Partners are going to work for you, especially if they like you and they trust you and they find you credible. You're going to walk into some opportunities that are not only going to make your partner look great, but it gives you an opportunity to get free leads, man. And, but yeah, start with your friends and family. I think friends and family are the ones that are going to help you build a business in that first, in that beginning. But make sure it's a low maintenance account. They're going to listen to you. It's easy to support. They upgrade when they're supposed to. You can keep all their machines patched. So as long as you can be proactive, it's going to be a low maintenance account, and it's going to be easy money. So, and one more tip is delegate. Don't do everything yourself. Delegate. Now, do you think the easy industries are more competitive now, or is there still, room for new players?
Are the easy industries more competitive? No, I don't think so. I think industries, there are no, I mean, the easy ones we talked about today, like the ones with your friends, the ones that are not contract, you know, technology companies, not people doing BYOD, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're just business. Business is business. I wouldn't call it out as as easy or hard.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. No, I think that you are in control of your destiny. Me myself, I believe you can either make it easy on yourself or make it hard on yourself. And I honestly believe too. I know you said the unions are a pain in the butt and
The
construction.
worst. The worst.
Yeah.
Worse than
Well,
contractors and architects. Worse than doctors.
yeah, yeah. Well, just stay away from those industries. I mean, you know, I'm a pretty stubborn guy, so I have to experience it to come to that determination. So I want to go through it first and say, okay, I have my own opinion. I don't have to, I want to experience it to determine, yeah, this is a tough one. Or it could be I could hit, gold, and I got an architect that loves me, and he's like, man, I got 10 other architect firms that can help, that would love you. And I'm like, oh man, this is great, right? Because I think that you could find, um, once you get master an industry, try to expand on that, because doctors will introduce you to other doctors. If they love you, I'm going to tell you this. Some of you guys may be rough around the edges when it comes to um, socializing. You're uncomfortable. Well, if you plan on growing, plan on being uncomfortable, because it's the only way you're going to succeed in life. There's no way you're going to be a success sitting in a corner and wondering why you're not getting any business. You got to go out there and get it. Now, my last question to Gregory is, what's one industry? I think you've already answered it, but I just want to make sure, the one industry you'd never support again, is you're going to stick with the unions?
Oh, without question, unions are the worst. There's nothing worse than a union.
They probably don't even outsource. They have to hire somebody full time, because they know nobody's going to work with us. Let's get a full time employee. And I wonder how it is for him or her who's working there.
Well, I'll tell you how it is. It's great because he has to do everything.
Yeah.
He cannot offload any work to any of the. You can't ask anyone to do anything.
Yeah.
He can't say to somebody, "Hey, can you reboot your computer?" He has to go out there and do it himself.
Well,
So
job security. So
it is and it isn't. It's like why can't you cooperate? Well, I wasn't trained. I don't have the right training to reboot my computer. It's just, you're like, what are you talking about, dude? Just help me out here.
Oh my goodness. You and I, when we did that one trade show, it was ran by union people.
Yeah.
And I failed to read the small print that said you cannot use a dolly, or you have to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
One of our union members. You'll have to carry everything yourself.
That's right.
You couldn't even.
You had to hire a union person to help you carry equipment into your booth.
Yes. You could not use your own. You can't even use your own dolly.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like, oh my goodness, I was so frustrated that day. I was like, what is this all about? San Francisco. That's San Francisco for you, though.
That's San Francisco for you. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That was a long, long time ago. That was like 2009, I believe. But it was a learning experience. It was interesting.
I'll tell you, it gets worse. The stories get worse.
Yeah.
Unions, horrible creatures. Organized labor there's nothing worse.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's just wrap this up. Let me just give a quick plug on the MSP Corner. Obviously, Gregory and I, we're on a mission to deliver valuable content. Sometimes it might be a little entertaining, but really, it's more about educating you guys, keeping you in the loop on the latest and greatest vendors out there that will help you either generate new business or a new tech stack is out, or vendors that will help you deliver a SOC. But, as founders of an MSP, we know the struggles, many of you go through, and this platform was primarily developed to help guide you through challenges like selling value, marketing, building effective email campaigns. So we want to offer frameworks that solve that marketing and selling challenge. Plus, like I said, we're lining up resources to help you with SEO, PPC, and much, much more. And my closing thoughts are this. Since we're wrapping things up, but whether you're niching down or staying broad, picking the right industry can make or break your growth and bring you peace of mind, really, because you don't want to go. It's a stressful industry. But if you got value today, follow the show, right? And share this with a fellow MSP or CEO who will find this information beneficial to their business. And well, thanks for listening. And don't forget to sign up to be a member on the MSP Corner site, www.mspcorner.com. And that's a wrap. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening. And don't forget to sign up to be a member on www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have an awesome day.